Let's talk nitty gritty on how to delegate. If you've watched my last couple of videos, perhaps I've convinced you that you need to delegate more, but sometimes it can be really confusing to go, but yet that's all nice, Carol, but how do I actually do this? So I want to share with you today the process that I use, the process that really works for me. So here you see a slide, and this looks like a lot of steps, but the reality is once you get the hang of it, and depending on how big of a thing you're delegating, this can go pretty quickly, right? The first thing is define the outcome needed. We talked in my very first video on delegation, I talked about delegating responsibility versus task. So in order to do that well, you need to define the outcome so that you can share with the person that you're delegating what you expect the end result to be. Second, select the right person. So you want to make sure that you're delegating an outcome to somebody who has the skills and talents to do what you're asking them to do, right? That is a real quick way to get in trouble, is by delegating something to somebody that they don't necessarily have the knowledge, skills, it's not in their zone of genius or zone of excellence. And then you're going to come back frustrated because you're not going to get the outcome you need. So make sure you're selecting the right person. 3, this becomes really important. Explain the why. If the person has the skills and the abilities to do it, they understand the outcome, and they understand why this is important to you or important to the business, it can make a huge difference in their motivation to do this well. 4th, provide any resources that are needed. And you might even consider asking the person after you think you provided the resources, what else do you need, right? If I'm asking somebody in my business to create me a brochure, then I need to make sure that they have my branding guide, that they have access to my headshot, that they have access to any information that's going to help them come up with the copy for that brochure, et cetera. So make sure that you've thought through briefly what resources they need, so you're not leaving them out there not able to do what they need to do. 5th, kind of coming back to this, delegate responsibility and authority. So make sure they know what the boundaries of their responsibility and authority are. I want you to get to this outcome by this date. Here's the authority that you have. Here's what you probably should run by me versus here's what is okay for you to make a decision on your own. Having that clearly defined frees them up to make some of the decisions along the way, but it also frees you up not to worry about it because you know they've got this, right? Ooh, this one's a little harder. We've got to allow for mistakes, particularly if it is the first time that you're delegating a particular type of outcome or responsibility to somebody. You've got to have some wiggle room for mistakes. What that might mean, if we go to my example of delegating, creating a brochure, if I need a brochure for an event in a month, then I'm going to probably set the deadline 2 weeks before that event, because I want to allow for mistakes. I want to allow for the opportunity if that person runs a little bit behind, if I haven't provided all the resources that they need, if I want to proof the final version and give them some feedback. So you want to build some space into this whole process so that if there is a mistake, mistakes are an incredible opportunity for growth. I talk about this a lot with my kids, that mistakes are an opportunity to get better. So this is really true with the people you supervise too. When they make a mistake, it is an amazing opportunity for you to give some feedback and for them to learn more about what your expectations really look like. So see a mistake as that rather than just a frustration point that it didn't come back the way you wanted it to the first time. And then last, and certainly not least, provide feedback and appreciation. That feedback and appreciation does a lot of things. One, the feedback can also help them do better in bits of feedback and saying, oh gosh, I'd like to edit these things, and here's why I'd like to edit these things on this brochure. Or I really appreciate you getting this to me on time. I love how you did X, Y, and Z. That sort of appreciation helps that person that you've delegated the responsibility to feel seen, known, and valued. Therefore, they're going to be more engaged in their job. It also allows you to continue to reinforce your expectations and the things that matter the most to you, because what you appreciate and recognize people for doing, they will do more of. So if something is really in line with the way that you wanted it to be done, when you recognize that and appreciate it, you're only reinforcing that will happen more and more. This feedback and appreciation thing is the easiest thing to skip, right? We get it back, there's a few mistakes, we fix it, and then we go right back to the next outcome. So I hope this little process helps you think about delegation in a different way. It seems like a lot of steps, but the reality is once you get started on it and get moving, it's a pretty short and easy process. You'll get in the habit of it, but remember to make sure all along the process that the door is open for questions. That will help make the whole process better if the person knows that they have the responsibility and authority, but you are available to answer questions. So that's my process for delegating. Do you have a different process? Is there something I'm missing or something that you find really important in delegation? I'd love to hear about it below in the comments.